So, okay, before you watch this video, please go to the pink VMA acceptance speech video link that I have posted in Blackboard and watch the speech before you watch the rest of this video, because the speech is going to give you a little more context about the written words themselves. What I have here on the screen is just the printout version of her words. So this is the speech itself. And what you're going to do in your speech is something very similar. When you choose, you'll have 4 different options. When you choose the option that you're going to write your essay about, I highly suggest you print it out and you highlight and you make notes about it. Because the first step is to identify ethos, pathos, and logos in the speech itself. So that's what I've done here. Yellow is ethos. So I highlighted the title of the speech because the title is the acceptance speech at the VMAs. So that gives us ethos. She's received an award for her music, so her opinion of the music industry is valued. It is, it is valid. It is trustworthy. She is in the business. She is an expert to talk about the business. And then right here, I said, and my brain went to, oh my God, you're 6. Why? Where is this coming from? Who said this? So this is an example of pathos because she lists several different rhetorical questions. Why? Where is this coming from? Who said this? This idea that she is asking questions back to back to back to back to back gives the audience a sense of panic. So it makes us feel something. So there is our pathos. And then for logos, I have where she listed examples of the androgynous rock stars, the Michael Jackson, David Bowie, Freddie Mercury, Annie Lennox, the whole list of rock stars. She gives examples of artists who were probably made fun of. These examples are logic. It gives us a logical reason to believe what she's trying to say. Now, before you highlight anything in your speech, you need to decide what your speaker is trying to convince the audience to believe. What does Pink want her audience to think after she gives this speech or tells this story? Well, she wants people in her audience to be comfortable with who they are. That is her goal. Her goal is to convince everyone to be comfortable in their own skin. So she uses these examples of people as logos, as a logical example of people who lived their true selves, their true lives. They didn't hide who they were from the world, and they were successful in doing so. Down here at the bottom, we have more yellow. So yellow is ethos. So when she says, well, thanks, but when people make fun of me, that's what they use. They say, I look like a boy, or I am too masculine. And then she talks about her experiences. Do you see me changing? Do you see me, doing something different? Do you see me being successful? So when she's describing her experience here about how the world looks at her and the things that she has gone through in regards to how she looks and how society perceives who she is, gives her more credibility. We trust her when she says that it's better for us to be our true selves. We trust her when she says that because she gives us a story about how she was made fun of and how she battled through it and how she stayed true to herself, and that is part of why she became such a success. So it gives her more credibility. And then down here at the bottom, we have more pathos. So, she talks about, we don't change, we help other people change, we help other people see more kinds of beauty. So it gives us that inspiration. Seeing beauty is inspiring. She uses the word inspired. She talks about lighting the way for us and to keep shining. So, that lighting the way and keep shining are more examples of inspirational words. And then here at the end, we have, and you, my darling, are beautiful, and I love you, thank you. So peaceful acceptance of beauty. She is accepting her daughter as she is and believes that as she is a beautiful person. And that makes, if you listen close to the video, you can see sections in the video where you can hear the audience kind of go, "Aww." If the audience responds like that, whatever was said to make the audience sound like that is pathos. Laughter is pathos. So if you make a joke and the audience laughs at that joke, that is pathos. So there are lots of different pieces of pathos that we could pull in this speech. So that's step one. Step one is after you read your speech and decide what your person is trying to convince the world to think or do, then you highlight it and you make notes about it, like I've done here for the pink speech. And then, wrong way. And then I would suggest step two, you print out a blank graphic organizer like this so that you can kind of put all your ideas together. This is basically an outline to kind of get your ideas all together. But it's not only is it an outline, it's almost like a thesis statement builder as well. So what you're going to do after you have highlighted everything that you're going to highlight in your speech, I want you to pick out the 2 best examples for each color or each rhetorical appeal and add them right here in the evidence for ethos, evidence for pathos, evidence for logos. Okay, your 2 best examples. And then once you have them written down, I'll show you my ethos right here. The 2 best examples that I picked out is people make fun of me, I look like a boy or I'm too masculine, and do you see me changing myself? Those are the 2 pieces of evidence that I'm going to use in my essay to establish ethos. Okay? And then next to this little star here, I have just kind of summarized what those pieces of evidence are doing. How are those 2 things ethos? So her experience gives her authority on the subject. So that's kind of what I said in my notes. When I highlighted these things, I wrote a note in the margin that said, her experience being made fun of makes her, an authority on the topic of being true to yourself. So that's what these 2 pieces are doing. For pathos, we don't change, we help each other, or we help other people change, inspired, lighting the way, keep shining. Those are my 2 pieces of evidence for pathos. And then I have just a short sentence that summarizes what that evidence is doing in the speech. The emotional phrasing gives the audience sympathy towards her purpose, or inspires. You could also say inspires the audience to be who they want to be. And I'll tell you why this summary phrase right here is so important in just a few minutes, because it's going to turn into our thesis statement. So once you have decided what 2 pieces of evidence you're going to use for each of these 3 pieces, ethos, pathos, and logos, you're going to move over here to this speaker, purpose, audience triangle. And the speaker is Pink, an award-winning musician. So we're going to write that down. And then the purpose, her purpose in giving this speech is to convince people about the importance of body positivity. She wants everybody to feel good about themselves and to be who they truly are and not put on a facade for other people to try to fit into what other people think they should be. So she's trying to convince, about the importance of body positivity. And then who is her audience? Well, the story is about her daughter. So she is talking to her daughter, but she is giving this speech to the VMA audience. So they are also her audience. She is trying to convince everyone that hears her speech in her audience to be more proud of themselves, to love themselves a little more. So this is important. This document here is important when you are trying to outline what you want to write about and for putting your thesis statement together. So I'm going to click over on this other document here and talk about thesis statements for just a second. Okay, so the thesis statement for rhetorical analysis is, it has 6 parts. You have the speaker, audience, purpose. Okay, so that's this part, this little triangle on our graphic organizer, speaker, audience, purpose. And then you have ethos, logos, and pathos. However, you do not actually use the words ethos, logos, and pathos in your sentence. You do not. Instead, you give an overview of the way in which the speaker produces these 3 appeals. So if you go back to the graphic organizer, these little summary phrases that I put underneath my evidence, her experience gives her authority, emotional phrasing gives the audience sympathy, that is my overview of the way the speaker produces the appeals. So, my thesis statement ends up looking like this. All right, so it's color-coded so you can kind of see each piece. So this yellow highlighter is the speaker, so pink. This pink highlight is the purpose. Pink seeks to persuade. Her audience is this green highlight, seeks to persuade her daughter and the audience of the 2017 DMA Awards to value all forms of beauty. Now look at that purpose. It's in two different places. So pink seeks to persuade, and then what she wants people to believe. What is she trying to persuade people to believe? So both of those pieces need to be there for your thesis statement to check all the boxes. And then we have ethos, by citing a long life of experience. So then we're going to talk about all the experience that she discusses in her speech. And then logos, reasoning that some of the most famous artists struggled with acceptance. So we're going to talk about that list of artists that she discusses in her speech and how using those specific artists help give us logical reasons to why we should be true to who we are. And then pathos is blue, and valuing the power of inspiration. So all of her pathos wording is inspiring. You like the way, I'm inspired by, hope for the future. All of those words are giving the audience inspiration. So we have speaker, purpose, audience. Ethos, logos, pathos. But we don't ever actually say ethos, logos, and pathos in the thesis statement. So use this thesis statement as a guide to write your thesis statement for your rhetorical analysis essay, because this is what I'm looking for. This is the structure that I am looking for in your rhetorical analysis thesis statement. If you have any questions about the graphic organizer or about how to create a thesis statement, then please let me know. I'm going to do another video showing you some examples of good rhetorical analysis essays versus bad rhetorical analysis essays. So watch the next video. Thanks.